What's a cultural tradition or practice from another country that you find particularly fascinating or inspiring? Haka dance. Japan's Hanami festival is captivating. People gather to enjoy the brief beauty of cherry blossoms, which symbolize life's transience and encourage mindfulness. I've always respected the free Sikh kitchens in India. Persian tarof. In name and tradition, it's about civility and etiquette. In practice, it's about ego and social standing. It's fascinating and sometimes a major pain in the ass. It's effectively a kindness competition. Two people get to a door at the same time. One says, "Please, go ahead." The other says, "No, please, you go, I insist." That's tarof. But image that dynamic for absolutely everything. I say that it's tied to ego and social standing because there's sort of this dynamic where whoever folds first loses, whereas the winner gets to bask in the glory of being the bigger person. It's a kind of competition to see who cares about the other person more. If you go through the door first, at my urging, I care more about your convenience than you care about mine. I allowed myself to be inconvenienced and am therefore the better person. In the real-life situation where two people get to the door at the same time, it's totally normal for them to stand there and bicker for 5 or so minutes before someone eventually caves. Austria is the only country in the world that not only has a day dedicated to St. Nicolaus December 6th, but also to the Krampus a day before. While Santa Claus provides the well-behaved children with presents, the Krampus punishes those who are ill-behaved. He's a demonic-looking creature equipped with a wooden mask and a whip. On December 5th, many people dress up as the Krampus and roam the streets of Austrian towns, troubling its inhabitants. A truly hellish sight. Don't bring your kids. Holi looks crazy to me. So many colors and smiles. Someday I'll actually look it up and learn more. That and Oktoberfest in Germany. A big tent where you drink beer all day and listen to music. Okay, I'm in. I like Japanese architecture and how it fits with their floor culture. They eat on the floor, they take their shoes off so they don't get their floor dirty, they sleep on the floor, etc. And then the homes are built around this cultural behavior, maybe not so much modern ones, but traditional homes were. I'm not sure if the sliding doors fit with the floor stuff somehow, but they seem like a big positive over swinging doors, and I don't understand why swinging doors are still a thing. I'm not sure if this fits the question, but I always find the haka pretty inspiring. Kite fighting. I can't remember what country this was, but in an episode of 6 Feet Under, one of the main characters, Nate, spoke about how American funerals were so composed in comparison to somewhere else where people went to an island and just let it out. This was mentioned in Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a joyful life, that in Ajami village, Okinawa prefecture, locals have traditions of maintaining and cultivating connection with the nature, taking care of it and respecting it as they believe it also cares for them in return. So that would be for me. I lived in Okinawa for about 4 years, and one thing is their sumo wrestling. It's wild when these 400-pound men crash into each other, sometimes sounding like a gunshot. Not only that, but the fact that they pick each other up and throw them around is crazy. The energy of the crowd's weird, though sometimes they are completely silent or they just slightly clap. We became friends with a couple who came to the US from India. We were at their house, sitting in their living room, just chatting and enjoying a glass of wine. The wife pointed out to me that, the way my legs were crossed, the sole of my foot was facing her. She said she was not offended, but in high society in India, that would be offensive, and that people are careful not to let the soles of their feet face anyone else. The Japanese concept of kintsugi, which is the art of repairing broken pottery with gold or silver lacquer. Kitsungi, a Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold silver. Such a beautiful and deep tradition. Doesn't even have to be from another country. Ever hear of a Sabbath elevator? You'll find them in areas with a lot of Jews in the US. It's a normal elevator, but on the Jewish Sabbath day Saturday, the elevator automatically goes from the top floor to the bottom floor and repeats that all day. It stops on every floor, every time, and opens the door on that floor. This is so that observant Orthodox Jews don't have to press any buttons, because pressing a button is considered work, and work is forbidden on the Sabbath. You just stand there and wait for the elevator to come to your floor, and get on and get off without touching a button. I find it fascinating the lengths to which people will go to stretch a rule or create a harmless loophole. All religions do this in one way or another. My parents grew up in Haiti and described how on Christmas they'd go to midnight mass, and then afterwards, like at 1 a.m., everyone would be out in the streets, and people would eat pâté, a sort of pastry with shredded fish or meat, and celebrate. Same thing an exact week on New Year's Day, which is Haitian Independence Day. The Mori Haka. Hanging for Robux. I'm Roman Catholic. but I've always found Orthodox churches to be more beautiful. I love the mosaics and iconography. Japanese shrine visits. Any culture where multi-generational homes are encouraged. I know it has to be frustrating at times, but economically and just in terms of keeping family close, it sounds like a good idea. Given the housing market here in the States, my wife and I are already exploring how we would make it work for our kids. Nathan's hot dog eating contest. First I was disturbed, then curious. Nowadays I watch it every year. Joey Chess, that is my idol. Churches in American Black communities. They seem so energetic, joyful and actually fun to go to compared to the white people churches I've been to in my country. I am curious about arranged marriages. How do they know who to pair up? How are they so successful at picking pairings because the divorce rate is so much lower than places that don't have arranged marriages?